It wasn't a sound. It wasn't a signal. It wasn't even meant to be seen. But what Voyager 1 just sent back wasn't supposed to happen. A strange image, a distortion of light, a structured rhythm embedded in chaos. And behind it, a shape, not a planet, not a star, not a system glitch, something else, something that doesn't belong on any NASA chart, something that now has the scientific community spiraling into confusion and panic. Voyager 1, our furthest emissary to the stars, just looked back or forward and captured something that defies every rule we thought governed the universe. The question now isn't whether this is real. It's whether we're ready for what it means and if what Voyager just saw has already seen us. Launched in 1977, while disco music blared through Earth's radios and Atari consoles sat beneath Christmas trees, Voyager 1 carried with it not just instruments and sensors, but humanity's hope wrapped in a golden record. It was never meant to stop. It was designed to go, to push beyond Saturn, beyond the sun's protective bubble and into the vast unknown. And it did just that. Voyager 1 broke through the heliosphere in 2012, entering the interstellar medium where no human-made object had ever traveled. But in recent months, something changed. Subtle distortions in its telemetry began showing up. Not static, not silence, but pulses, patterns, anomalies with frequency and rhythm. NASA's Deep Space Network analysts were the first to spot it, buried within data logs that normally only showed routine radiation readings and magnetic field variations. Something embedded within the noise was repeating, too orderly to dismiss, too quiet to ignore. And then one day, what Voyager sent was not just numbers. It was visual, a blurry, erratic transmission resembling an image, but of what no one could say. At first, the transmission was brushed off as a possible error from Voyager's failing subsystems. After all, the spacecraft is nearly half a century old, operating on a computer weaker than a modern calculator. But experts noticed something deeply unsettling. The image wasn't random. It repeated, not identically but with structure. It resembled a spiral wrapped in magnetic interference, surrounded by a halo of energy fluctuations that mirrored known physical constants, but skewed almost, as if being refracted through something. Dr. Kendra Malik from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory said it best. It's as if the data is trying to encode something that shouldn't exist at that distance. The image, when run through advanced filters, showed an outline, faint but unmistakable, a silhouette with angles too precise to be natural but too chaotic to be artificial in the human sense. The panic didn't begin when the image was first seen. It began when scientists realized the shape matched nothing in their catalogs, but echoed something older. Ancient petroglyphs found across cultures, spirals, radiant patterns, echoes of contact. Coincidence or memory embedded in our collective mind. The whispers began inside closed rooms between astrophysicists who swore to stay within the bounds of science, but found themselves slipping into metaphysics. If Voyager 1 was indeed capturing something more than data, if this image was a genuine representation of an external structure, then what kind of structure exists 24 billion kilometers from Earth in a region of space presumed to be empty? Some posited it could be a dense pocket of dark matter, distorting electromagnetic fields. Others said Voyager may have crossed into a field left behind by an extinct civilization, a relic of a race that passed through this corner of the galaxy long before Earth knew language. But the most controversial theory that Voyager didn't capture a structure. It captured a presence, a form of awareness not bounded by time or light, something that exists within the folds of space-time itself and chose to respond to our probe, a cosmic mirror or worse, a signal waiting for acknowledgement. NASA didn't deny the anomaly. In fact, their official statement used a phrase that raised eyebrows across the world: structured noise with harmonic interference. In plain language, something is speaking in a language we don't yet recognize. The most staggering possibility emerged from a group of theoretical physicists analyzing the magnetic oscillations within the image. They noticed a recurring variance, one that resembled not just natural frequencies, but the atomic decay signature used in our own spacecraft, meaning somehow the image Voyager sent might not just be external, It might be a reflection of itself, or worse, of its future. The data hinted at a form of temporal feedback, a loop in which the probe was not only receiving information, but echoing it back across time. This isn't science fiction. Quantum theories already suggest that entanglement could allow for retrocausality, events being influenced by their own future. So, if Voyager has reached a region where time bends, where causality unravels, then this image could be more than a visual anomaly. It could be the first sign that time is not a river but a storm. One Voyager is now trapped within. And if that's the case, then the panic at NASA isn't about aliens. It's about something much worse. That the universe has rules we're not just breaking, but finally beginning to understand. As engineers and analysts at NASA attempted to retrieve more information, something even more unsettling occurred. Voyager 1 stopped transmitting. Not completely. Its signal was still there, faint and steady like a heartbeat. But no new data arrived. It was as if the probe had entered a zone where the rules of communication were no longer valid. Commands sent from Earth took the usual 22 hours to arrive. But Voyager's acknowledgements were now delayed, warped, or fragmented, as if traveling through a distorted medium, not empty space. The theory of gravitational lensing was ruled out. There were no known stars, no black holes, no dust clouds nearby. And yet, the transmission itself was behaving like it had been bent around something, massive and invisible. Even more disturbing, the gaps in the signal began to appear at fixed intervals, creating silent windows where nothing, no radiation, no magnetic reading, no telemetry was detectable. A zone of complete data null. One physicist described it as a communications dead spot that moves. The implication, something may have deliberately cloaked Voyager 1 from our view. Not jammed, not broken, hidden. As decoding attempts continued, AI algorithms combing through the distorted visual data made a chilling discovery. The image Voyager sent was not static. It contained layers, not in pixels, but in frequency domains. When viewed under infrared, modulation and cross-co compared with thermal noise maps, a secondary image emerged. This one wasn't blurry. It was crystalline, symmetrical, and unmistakably constructed, resembling a lattice or framework. It bore a geometry never before seen in any natural object. At the center of this lattice was a void, a perfect circle of absolute blackness surrounded by ridges of shifting light. Some experts speculated it was a structure. Others said it might be a gate or a spatial anomaly. But the most alarming hypothesis came from a mathematician analyzing the ratios embedded in its architecture. The numbers mirrored prime distributions found in the Arribo message, the signal humanity sent into space in 1974 as an attempt to make contact. If this wasn't a coincidence, then the structure Voyager detected was more than passive. It was responding to our message, perhaps even reflecting it back. But if so, why now? Why here? And how had it waited this long? Just as attention turned fully to Voyager 1, a new alert arrived from the team still monitoring its twin, Voyager 2. Though separated by billions of kilometers, both probes share similar architecture, communication protocols, and timing. And yet, in the exact moment Voyager 1's signals began showing anomalies, Voyager 2 experienced a minor but measurable increase in background radiation, followed by a brief fluctuation in its magnetic field sensor, one that matched the same waveform structure embedded in Voyager 1's image. Statistically, this was almost impossible. The probes are on different vectors, traveling in opposite directions in completely separate regions of interstellar space. But the disturbance was real and synchronized. That meant the phenomenon Voyager 1 encountered wasn't localized. It was either interconnected across space or reacting to both probes at once. Something larger, something spread across the void, a web, a grid, or as one JPL analyst dared to whisper behind closed doors, a net. If these anomalies are part of a larger framework, it raises a terrifying question. Are we drifting through space or through someone else's architecture? In desperation, NASA began consulting not just astrophysicists but theoretical archaeologists, scientists who study the possible signatures of ancient alien engineering? What if Voyager 1 hadn't encountered a random phenomenon? What if it had intersected with an artifact, a structure left behind, dormant, buried in interstellar space like a forgotten satellite? The idea isn't new. The Fermi paradox has long speculated that if intelligent life existed, it might leave behind passive technologies, beacons, monitors, even traps. Some researchers now believe that what Voyager 1 saw wasn't a signal or a structure, or even a presence, but a device. Something so old, so far beyond our understanding that even identifying it as technology feels like blasphemy. A relic that responds to intelligent probes. The same way a security camera responds to motion, a sentinel, not aggressive, not friendly, just watching, waiting. The Voyager image may not have captured an alien. It may have captured their message to others. We've already been here. For nearly half a century, Voyager 1